All right, welcome back from your long weekend. I hope you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving weekend with your family. Okay, we have a quiz coming up, okay? Wednesday during our block. I'll give you more details on that, but I'm thinking 8:30 to 10 a.m. I don't want to interfere with any other classes, so that's our block. Make sure you make it, okay? Because if you don't, and I got the schedule makeup for you, you don't get a retake. And yes, I did say retake for a quiz. It's because it's over two sections this time, okay? So we got 5-1 and 5-2 that'll be covering. We've already been using the general addition rule last week. We just didn't tie in the Venn diagram. So we're going to do that in today's lesson and then just kind of review a lot of these probability rules at the same time, okay? But most of your assignment will be going over 5-2. So 5-1 reviews on you to go back and reread that. Pretty short section. Take you 5 or 10 minutes to review that, okay? Or longer. You decide. All right. What else? All right, I do want to show you those evens from the assignment last week. So let's do that right now. I'm going to go quick because you have the ability to pause this and check it. So that's what I expect you to do. Here is 40. Pause and check. Here's 42 and 44. And 46. 48. Okay, 1552. 50. Sorry, a little bit of a glare, but it's right here. And then 52. Okay, fix what you need to so you get it right for the quiz. Okay, why don't you go ahead and pause and go grab your notes. Maybe open up your textbook and two. Let's get started with finishing this. Not much more to finish. I actually had this lesson almost all done, and then the video didn't save. So here we go. Okay, this is where we left off. Example 8. Okay. All right, so we started going through a two-way table. We did some probability questions about that two-way table. This is how we tie it in with Venn diagrams now. Okay, if something is event A, like a heart, it's here, right? There's 13 of those. If it's not a heart, remember, put that C right there, means not A, you put it outside the circle. Okay, this is an example of two things that are mutually exclusive, can't happen at the same time because there's no overlap. If there is overlap, then we'd see something like this. Okay. All right. So all of these little parts of the two-way table actually have a part in the Venn diagram. I actually drew these lines in the first video, so I'll just show you what I was doing. Okay. Actually, kind of like this one a little better. So example 9, we looked at the I don't know, they did some survey, right? They asked them if they're a homeowner. Yes, no. Okay, 500 people total. And also they tied in whether or not they're a high school graduate. Okay, so there's the data. All right, so those that were yes, a homeowner and a high school graduate, and it can happen at the same time, there's overlap. So that 221, the yes is always going to go here. Okay, but there were some homeowners, okay, of the 340 that were not high school graduates. So the 119 has a spot. Okay, right here. They call it event B homeowner. All right, and then we can continue that on. There were also high school graduates, event A, out of these 310, not all of them were yes, right? 89 were not homeowners, so they're here. Okay, and then there was a small group, 71, that were not a homeowner nor a high school graduate, so it goes out of those two events. So those 4 components always have a spot in the Venn diagram, okay? All right, so let's take you through example 10. Go ahead and pause and read this setting, okay? All right, so here we go. Just pick a side where you want to put these events. I'm going to put reads New York Times down here. Okay, I'm going to put reads USA Today up here. But if you flip these around, no big deal. Okay, so I'm going to call this yes, no. yes, no, and create our table here. Okay, not perfectly even squares, but oh well, it works. Okay, now this one actually gave us percents instead of counts. On the previous example we did with the deck of cards, we had counts. Okay, so if they give you percents, we know the total is 100%. Good spot to start. Now you can do it 100% or you can do it in decimal form. I'm going to go ahead and do decimal form. So we know this is 100. All right, so what do we know? 40% of the residents read USA Today. Okay, so let's find USA Today in our chart. 40% is a yes to that. Okay, so 40% read it. We know 60% do not. Okay, all right, I'll hold off and kind of backfill and let's just put in what we know though. Only 25% read the New York Times. Okay, so that's 0.25 right here. 5% read both. That's the yes, yes. Okay, and that's all they gave us. Okay. All right, now we have enough to kind of backfill, right? If 25% read the New York Times, then 75% do not. Okay. Now out of these 25%, 5 are yes, yes, but some are going to be yes, no. So that's the 0.20. Adds up. Okay, and then just focus on the math, right? This has to add to 0.60, so we have 0.4, and this has to be 0.35. All right, everything adding up. Just double check things. Looking good, looking good. Okay, so construct a Venn diagram. So it's best to kind of call these event A and B. So I'm going to call this, you know what, I have it right here. So go ahead and put event A reads USA Today. Event B is New York Times. Okay, so just create a little rectangle. There are yes, yeses, right? So we want this scenario where there's an overlap. So I've got event A, label inside, not outside. Event B, and maybe let's start with the yes, yes. Okay, we've got 5%. Yes, yes. So 0.05 is here. All right, but it reads USA Today. Okay, the yes to that was 0.40 total, but there's also 0.35 that were yes, but not part of event B. So we've got to put the 0.35 here. Okay. All right, and then we just keep filling it in. We've got 0.20 here because the New York Times, event B, has to add up to 25. So I've got the 5 plus the 0.20. Okay, so that makes up 25. Okay, and then the no goes outside like that. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at C. Find the probability that the person reads at least one of the two papers. So that's one or the other, or possibly both. Okay, so we can use the general addition rule. Probability of A plus probability of B minus the probability of A and B. So let's grab our numbers here. Probability of A, which was reads USA Today, is 0.4, plus the probability of New York Times, 0.25. But remember, I just double counted this group. Okay, so I got to subtract the A and B. So 0.05. Okay, so that gives us 0.60. All right, now you could use the table as well. That was one way to do the general addition rule, but if you understood at least one, then I could say, all right, these people have at least one because it's a yes, no. This is a yes, no. And then the yes, yes. So you could just add these three cells together as well. Okay, or take 1 minus 0.4. I guess 3 ways you could do that. Okay, D, find the probability that a person doesn't read either paper. That's the no, but here's the notation. So I have to get used to that as well. So probability of not A and not B. Okay, the probability of not A and not B is always the one that's outside, right? That's why this table here is a good study tool as well. Okay, so not A and not B is going to be right here, the 0.40. Okay, here's what I want you to do with this last page. It's going to take us right into the assignment as well. I want you to try this. Usually in class, I have you guys kind of partner up in groups of 2 or 3 and try this and then give you some feedback. So make your two-way table. It's back to percents again. Get a Venn diagram and answer these questions. And then I'll show you the answer here. Okay? Pause. Give yourself about 5 minutes to do it. Okay, just like checking the evens in the book, you can pause. So I'm just going to slide right along and show you this. Okay, here's the two-way table. Here's B, the Venn diagram. That's at 0.6 if you can't see it. C. And D. Okay. Part of your assignment is going to be book work, and part of it's going to be this worksheet that I'll post on Google Classroom. So it's going to have 2 sides to it. One's going to be this Venn diagram. Start off with a pretty easy Venn diagram, and number 1. 2 is a little more complex. One like this one won't quite be on the quiz, but it's good practice. All right, so give that one a good shot. Your best shot, I meant to say. And on the back, you might want to try this first to see if you can figure this out, but if you don't have this table correctly, it's going to mess up everything here. All right, so another spot where you might want to pause, because I'm about to give you the table. But see if you can figure out the table on your own, then check it, and then move on to the probability. Okay, so I call this event A, 3 on at least 1 die. This one event B. But here's the numbers you should have came up with. And I think you can backtrack and find the rest inside. And then once you have that table, complete the Venn diagram, and then complete these probability problems. All of these are the ORs, right? The union is OR. You should use the general addition rule for all of them so that you get this practice. There's steps to these. So for example, if we were doing this one, the probability of not A or B, we'd say that's equal to the probability of the first event, not A, plus the probability of the second event, minus the overlap, if there is any, minus the probability of not A and B. And once you have the table up here, it's going to be pretty obvious where you get those things from. Okay, so all of those, you can maybe just do the work down here. But most of these other ones, you're just grabbing from the table. Maybe just convert them to decimals. Once you have the fraction form, I'll probably have the decimal form on the key. Okay, so I'll push that out probably Tuesday evening sometime, so you can maybe check on that if you want. Heading into Wednesday morning, which would be our quiz, along with a lesson on 5.3. All right, you guys have a great start to the week, and we'll talk to you soon.